Remembering tabla maestro Zakir Hussain, the master who gave the tabla its due, the indelible mark on music, then he has sort of put out, we pay tribute to him.
And after that, our person of interest today, the star behind Kutch Express. You've seen her before in many films, many shows, but this is a national award win in particular for this. And you saw her tears, you saw her triumph. We take you behind the scenes with her. Manasi Parekh joins us on the show. She tells us not just about stardom, but also motherhood, fitness, all the other things she's passionate about.
And like we mentioned, Delhi AQI has dropped to severe yet again. Pollution curbs under GRAP 4 are back. Delhi, of the 37 monitoring stations, 25 of them are reading beyond the 400 mark. It's time to mask up, it's time to put your air purifiers on, and it's time to stay indoors as much as possible.
All right, first up, let's talk about something that's taken over our social media feeds, chiropractors. We've seen the videos everywhere. There's a loud bone-cracking sound. People are looking a little scared when it's happening, but then after that, it seems as if they're relieved. And then you have captions that promise instant pain relief right after you get it. But here's the multi-crore question, as they say. Should we trust this trend that we're seeing everywhere on our body? Or could it just be another social media craze waiting to snap? Chiropractors are specialists, as they say they are, in spinal and joint manipulations. And their art, it's called chiropractic, is all about hands-on adjustments. The term itself, it's important to understand, it comes from Greek words. Those words means done by hand.
Yeah, pretty
it's fitting,
literate,
obviously, since chiropractors are relying heavily on these manual methods. The practice isn't new. It dates back all the way to 1895. When you had someone called Daniel David Palmer say that he'd cured a janitor's hearing loss by adjusting his spine. It sounds impressive, but did it really happen? Today, chiropractors operate in over 90 countries. The US alone boasts 70,000 licensed practitioners. And what that means is it makes chiropractic the largest alternative medical profession there is over there.
Largest there, imagine. But does chiropractic work, the science behind it is really supportive? Well, it's complicated to say the least. One British medical journal study found spinal manipulation or manipulative therapy, as they say, has similar effects to recommended treatments to chronic lower back pain. And here's the twist, as they say, quite literally. It also highlighted potential risks, including mild to moderate adverse effects. But what about India? What's the data here like? Now, unlike in the US, where bodies like the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners regulate the profession, India lacks any oversight. Many Indian chiropractors claim that US degrees and certification is what they have, but there is nobody to sort of verify those qualifications. On the flip side, however, physiotherapists in India are regulated under the Rehabilitation Council of India Act 1994, ensuring there's sort of a strict adherence to that code. So this story is not just about, chiropractic versus physiotherapy. It's about the right kind of both and understanding who needs what when. Our first guest this morning is Dr. Kannan. He is one of the nation's top sports physicians, somebody who has worked with almost all the international sports teams on the country as well in the last couple of decades. He's also the co-founder for SPARRC. So just to sort of get started with that, Dr. Kannan, what is sports therapy, just to sort of get a broad understanding there, and how is it different from physiotherapy or even chiropractic?
See, if you want to know, sports physiotherapy, sports medicine come under the banner of an allopathic practice that we have doctors who are studying in a medical college and physiotherapists studying in a physiotherapy or recognized medical colleges. So these are accepted specialities that are available in this country, in India, and around the world. You cannot change this. This is a mainstream of medicine. But when it comes to any form of chiropractic practice, it is alternative medicine, and they are totally different from the common impression of physiotherapy. There's nothing to do with physiotherapy. They work on a certain sector of the body and claim it to work in all the problems that they could solve.
I see.
Nothing to do with physiotherapy. Okay, so we'll remember that for our next few questions. Can you just tell us, Dr. Kannan, someone comes into your practice, say I'm going to give an example, say they have an injured leg. How do you analyze what kind of therapy should be given to them? For example, what branch even within physiotherapy should be advocated?
First of all, is the history that we need to elicit optimally. A person may have a pain which is there only when they walk. This would be a common impression. But if you ask them, while walking, I don't have a pain. After walking, I get this pain. So the impression that we get that walk produces pain is not true. Post-walk, the pain has been present. So they blame it on the walk. So in sports medicine, we are clear about whether there is no injury and the pain has come, or an injury has caused the pain. So if there has been an injury, instantaneously and immediately the pain is felt, then the injury has caused the pain. If the pain is coming a few days or few months later, still there is an initiation, but it is not caused by that alone. There are other factors which are also in connivance with each other to produce the result. This is one aspect. Now, when it is handed over to the physiotherapist, they are given a clarity on an injury that has been diagnosed and given to them for their management. It is fair enough in most of the conditions to let the physiotherapist do what they need to do, because they are trained in the physiotherapy sector to take care of with the gadgets, which involves the ultrasound, the electro modalities that we talk about, ultrasound, IFT, shortwave diathermy, traction, whatever form of therapy. And they also today have mobilization and manipulation therapies, which have been taken into physiotherapy and understood that they will not cause injuries to a person.
I see. So switching back to chiropractic for a bit then, Dr. Kannan, are there situations where you do advise people to take sort of sessions from a chiropractor?
Ma'am, chiropractic practice is not a mainstream. So in this country, in India, we do not advise anyone to go through a chiropractic practice because they are not people who are licensed in this country to practice. They may be very good in their job, they could have earned their license elsewhere, but there is nobody controlling their practice in this country. Even a physiotherapist is coming under a certain scrutiny in this country. And if there is any legal action, there will be no protection at all for the chiropractor. All the other things that you asked me, whether it's physiotherapy or sports medicine, come under these categories. So I wouldn't advise anyone to go for a chiropractic because though I know a concept how it works, but who is practicing this in this country with what qualification? There are no schools in chiropractic. There are only schools which come from outside this country and teach it not to people who are in the 12th standard, finished their program. They're teaching it to physiotherapists who have finished their practice or are trained already to practice. They are physiotherapists. So they are adding chiropractic practice to them. So nobody who is a non-medicine person learning chiropractic like outside the country gets to learn it here. There are only physiotherapists who may practice, thinking that could give their extension of what they can do to this person.
Dr. Kannan, if we could ask you though, as we were starting the show, we told our audiences a little bit about what chiropractors say is the science behind it. They call it spinal manipulation, right? And you're someone who, because you've been in this field, I'm sure you've delved deep into the science behind what is called chiropractic. So, you know, by cracking something, you are changing the alignment of the spine, and that is to benefit. I know some chiropractors actually say, and this is more abroad than it is here, that it can even cause diseases. They say even things like asthma can be cured. What do you have to think of the science behind it?
See, when Daniel David Palmer, D.D. Palmer, the origin of us chiropractic medicine, they were called as bone setters. They were not even near anything. They were just setting bones in 1907 perhaps. But when they came out with a second patient, William Weed, who gave an idea, why don't you call that as chiropractic? Because chiro refers to a Greek name. This is how they didn't even have a name, they got a name. Now, they are talking about how you can have subluxations on the spine, which is a vertebrae below the skull, which may lose their position either forward, backward, sideward, inward, rotated, etc., tilted. And those malalignments may lead to pain, dysfunction, diseases of all sorts. So the whole idea of the spinal mobilization and manipulation is to ensure you restore the alignment back to its original level, if not in one go, by a series of treatment, such that you can have a person pain-free or a disease-free state.
Sure.
This is what it is. And in which the science does not have a clarity like the way our medicine, allopathic practice is, where you are having a clarity on this manipulation, you will see this. Okay? It seems to be vague and doesn't have a clarity in attaining the result that we have in this many days or whatever.
Okay, your opinion is pretty clear, but let me attempt to ask it one more time. All these cracking videos that we see of chiropractors, not just in India but abroad as well, with little kids, you see qualified nurses, certified nurses in their official attire carrying on these adjustment activities. So what is your thought on chiropractors?
See, we can get a noise. All of us do this, crackling our knuckles on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes you feel somebody doing this, and we get even now you got a crack from my own shoulder. It doesn't mean that till date we don't understand why a sound comes from which space. We know it has come from a space, we don't know which structure produces it. There's a nitrogen bubble that seems to come out. There are various theories. When there are theories, we don't have an answer. So most important component is we don't know where the sound comes from. The sound doesn't mean there is a pathology underneath. That's why this is happening. There are children with this kind of sounds who have comfortably, done whatever they were doing, to a geriatric age group who would seem to have it. World-class athletes have it, and it doesn't mean the sound means anything. So a crackling sound that a chiropractic makes and claims that he has realigned the spine is very difficult for us to understand. How much time will it take to go back to its original position where a realignment has to be made? What are the forces that create this malalignment? Is it the person's posture? Is it anything that we could correct without the manipulation? Is not understood. And my suggestion is, if we have a chiropractic person, the individual has learned from any particular school outside the country with their certification, they are practicing 200 hours more than the normal physicians who are coming out of the medical college, if they have a licensing. So you must know something about what they do before you even give your fingernail to them rather than putting your head.
Okay, Dr. Kannan, if we could just ask you then, lastly, are you seeing people come in? Your center, SPARRC, as we talked about it earlier, it offers all of these services. So not chiropractic in particular, but it does offer different kinds of physiotherapy. Do you see people coming in and asking for chiropractors too? Is that a demand or question people make?
In my practice, I don't see. I see them when they had already met and things didn't go well the way it is, or they got better, but it was not sustained. Most of the work is they are doing a kind of a therapy, but it doesn't sustain because whatever that they could have done gave them a partial relief or mildly aggravated the symptom or severely aggravated the system. A complete cure has not been a common feature in this country, at least as I have seen, with the kind of chiropractic that is available.
All right, Dr. Kannan, thanks so much for joining us. We've spoken to a true blue physiotherapist. It's only fair we give chiropractors a chance on the program to make their case. Dr. Saurabh Mangal, Director of Health Science Physio Wellness Clinic, is also with us. By the way, all the details that you're seeing on the report are actually by our colleague Himani. You can watch and in fact, read the entire report on News18.com as well. So, Dr. Saurabh, let's start with this. Chiropractic not to be recommended. People are going to physiotherapists after things have gone wrong with the chiropractor. All these claims have been made. So let's give you an opening comment first to make your case.
Okay, what I'll say that people are coming to us not because they have done the things incorrectly in the chiropractic clinics, but they come because it is not benefiting them.
Okay.
So people come to us and they say we went to the chiropractor for back pain, we felt the relief for just 10-15 minutes and once we came out of the clinic it was same. So there was no relief. That's why they come back to the physiotherapy.
But Dr. Mangal, if we could ask you, you are also a chiropractor, correct? You are someone who has been practicing the chiropractic science for at least the last 7 years.
Also doing physio. He does both.
Also doing physio,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But that's exactly what Dr. Kannan said earlier, that chiropractic as a science is practiced by those who are physiotherapists who then take this up. Why did you decide to take up chiropractic after being a physiotherapist for many years? What was your shift there?
In physiotherapy, we get lots of patients with the different problems. Our main job is to let them get out of that pain position by using different kind of modalities. Like we use electrotherapy, we use manual muscle mobilizations, we use stretchings, we use exercise therapy. Nowadays we are using dry needle therapy as well, where we use that acupuncture needles. This chiropractic thing is also a part of physiotherapy, as we can say, because these are the manipulations. In physiotherapy, we practice low volume. Like we just practice the manipulations, but not like that cracking sound. But in chiropractic, we practice in the high velocity. So if I say the both things like manipulations we are using in the physiotherapy and high velocity manipulations used in the chiropractic, they are almost same. But that low volume manipulations of the joints benefits. But this high volume just gives the relaxation. So I'll say that chiropractic part comes for the relaxation only.
So you're making the distinction very, very clear. Number one, it's an alternate therapy, does not replace physiotherapy, and it is only for instant relief, not cure. So that's important to remember. Not to see it as an alternate therapy, not to see it something that will cure altogether. It is only to give you relief, which sounds okay. That clarifies things a little bit. But my question is this: why is there so much sort of at one hand a lot of viral videos of chiropractors going the rounds, and on the other doctors saying, listen, stay away from it. When in a place like India, where traditional massage and very age-old ragda massage used to be like a thing, in a country like ours, how does this go back?
Look, people, if you see nowadays from last 2-3 years, people are more into social media. So whatever you see in the social media, if you see the reel and if you're sharing it, social media will hype that. So when people started to post these chiropractic techniques and these cracking sounds on the social media, it took hype. And now everybody is seeing the videos and they think that, okay, I'm having back pain. Let's go and try this. So people are going there by the chance. Okay, let's give it a chance. If I get benefit, it is okay. If it not benefiting me, I'll go back to the physiotherapy.
But is it a chance worth taking since there are some instances also?
So that's
Yes.
exactly, I want to, Dr. Mangal, I want to ask you this. I think the strongest point that Dr. Kannan, who we had right before you, he was making, is that physiotherapists are regulated. In India, there is a body that regulates physiotherapists very strictly. The same doesn't exist for this practice, for chiropractic. And so what you could have happening in many cases, which is so important because you're letting someone come in and play with your body, is that there's no regulation, and that's actually quite dangerous, wouldn't you say, doctor?
Yeah.
This is a very dangerous technique, and as we have seen it on some videos also, like there was a case, and I think it was in the USA, one chiropractor just did the manipulation on the neck of a patient, and that patient was paralyzed after that. And recently one video was trending on Instagram that one person was sitting on the barber salon, and that barber did the manipulation of neck crack, and he was like this in that position.
Right.
That was fake, but this cases happens. And in my own city also, I have seen one case in front of my eyes. I was sitting in the saloon, one man came, he said, my neck is stuck from the morning. That time I was in school. So that barber said, okay, I can adjust it. And he was adjusting it from many months or years or other persons also. But that day, in front of my eye, he adjusted it. And after 30 minutes, somebody told me that man who got his neck adjusted is no more.
Oh God.
So this is the real case. This is the real case in front of my eyes that I have seen in my school time. But but if you see in India, you will see these techniques are being used in ancient times also, and like in rural villages, still people use. If somebody is having back pain, they ask them to lie down on the floor, put your leg that side, and they kick them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this
Dr.
techniques we
Saurabh,
use.
sorry, we're running out of time, so quickly I want to squeeze in a question. You know, you seem to have a balanced view on things. You're saying you yourself do chiropractic, but you're saying not everybody does it the right way. So what's your recommendation for people? The difference between instant relief and long-term repair is clearly established. But what is your advice when people say are looking at chiropractic?
I will say this: for the long-term effects, you should go through physiotherapy only. And if a physiotherapist want to do the manipulations at the right time, that is a good idea.
Right.
Instead of just going straight to the manipulations, because manipulations can harm you. But with the physiotherapy, if you are using it, it will not harm you.
Right. All right, Dr. Saurabh, thanks so much for joining us and clarifying that completely for our viewers. Well, go to a certified one. That's my only go-to. And please take proper recommendations. And please ask your doctor before trying any of this. That's a big disclaimer coming there. Thanks so much for joining us with that.
Start with a physiotherapist. I think they both were in agreement there. Okay, we're going to head into a quick break. On the other side, we are taking you to the reality in the NCR region as Delhi air quality has dropped to severe once again. It felt like we were out of it, but it doesn't seem like we are. We'll have the numbers for you on the other side. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Oh, I honestly...
It's a plane up there. Right? You see that? That's an airline. Commercial airline. There you go, another one there. Now, that is not a commercial airliner. It's hovering, it's sitting right there. All right, and then you got more, a lot more. You got another one over here, just hovering around, just hanging out. Airlines don't just hang out, and those aren't helicopters. You got several over here now that are flying around. Two there are flying, one's hovering.
Another drum. And it's silent.
A plane up there. Right? You see that? That's an airline. Commercial airline. There you go, another one there. Now, that is not a commercial airliner. It's hovering, it's sitting right there. Alright? And then you got more, a lot more. You got another one over here. Just hovering around, just hanging out. Airlines don't just hang out, and those aren't helicopters. You got several over here now that are flying around. Two there are flying, one's hovering.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. We love to bring you positive, inspiring stories here on the show. Checking in on the AQI is never that, but we're going to bring you what it looks like right now in Delhi. Delhiites, people in the NCR region have woken up to the air quality dropping to severe once again, and the city entering into GRAP 4 once again. That's an important note. Yesterday evening, we went back into GRAP 4. But what does that actually mean? What are Delhi's various monitoring stations actually seeing in terms of real-time air quality? Sonal is on the wall with more.
Right, so just when we thought that it was time to get out with all the partying in the December season, it's time to go back indoors. Put your mask on and get your air purifiers up and running yet again, because the AQI has gone back to 421. This is the average of Delhi, which means there are certain areas which are much worse. At this point, one of the worst areas being recording AQI is 999. This is Sanjay Nagar, Ghaziabad area, and again a reminder, the only reason it's going to 999 is because the meter is not made to record anything higher, so it could be more. It could be exceeding 1000 levels as well, which is really, really bad for our health. A lot of them have gone back into deep red, that is hazardous category. A lot of them over 350, 400 as well. This is sector 62 in Noida, again 508. 464 for Indrapuram, Ghaziabad over there. But it's not just that, it's other places around Delhi as well which are seeing much worse air. So overall, the air quality is looking really bad. One of the reasons is that GRAP 3, GRAP 4 was relaxed, remember, earlier last week, but looks like that's really not working out. And that's the reason why first GRAP 3 was enforced around evening yesterday, but later in the night, as AQI gotten to become worse, it was GRAP 4 was imposed as well. That means a lot of us will have to sort of start wondering how to do with our cars, a lot of diesel vehicles, etc., which now cannot be used.
Right, especially for people who might already have left home without realizing that we are now in GRAP 4. Okay, we're going to move on though from this. Delhiites, those in the NCR region, now you know. We're going to take you now to something entirely different, a change, a shift that we saw take place yesterday in the wee hours of Monday morning. India and the world lost a musical giant. In the day that has passed, you've had tributes that have poured in from luminaries, from publications across the entire world. Now, we did talk a little bit on Monday's show about Zakir Hussain's passing. We at that point just learned about it a few minutes ago. But today we thought it was important to delve deeper into his legacy, his story, his impact.
Now, Ustadji had the kind of impact that he illustrated for millions of us, and how singular and deserving of its own limelight the tabla was. Now, we've talked about his achievements as well, but we sometimes don't discuss how kind and unassuming he was as a person, something that constantly comes up in chats. That mischievous smile that he'd break into mid-jugalbandi, that'll stay with us forever. So we thought, let's give you a glimpse of it one more time.
It's a sad Monday indeed for music fans everywhere, as the world woke up to the shocking news of legendary tabla maestro Ustad Zakir Hussain's unfortunate demise at the age of 73 on Sunday in San Francisco. According to an official statement released by his family, the virtuoso succumbed to idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a rare lung condition, leaving an irreplaceable void in the realm of rhythm and melody. A true global icon, Zakir Hussain, whose career spanned over 6 decades, was the eldest son of the legendary tabla player Ustad Allah Rakha. Following his illustrious father's footsteps, he began his musical journey at the tender age of 7, under the tutelage of his father. His craft transcended genres from Indian classical to jazz and concertos, literally fostering an all-inclusive musical creativity that resonated across cultures and continents. Known for his quick, magical fingers on the tabla, Zakir Hussain was more than just a musician. He was a global ambassador of Indian music, working with iconic artists like the Beatles, John McLaughlin, Mickey Hart, Ravi Shankar, and Hari Prasad Chaurasia. He introduced Indian rhythms to global audiences and redefined how people saw Indian classical music. Throughout his career, Zakir Hussain received many awards, including the Padma Shri in 1988, Padma Bhushan in 2002, and the Padma Vibhushan in 2023. Coming to his international accolades, throughout his career, Zakir Hussain had received 7 Grammy nominations, out of which he had won 4. He had picked up 3 Grammy Awards in February this year alone, thus creating history by becoming the first Indian to win 3 of these trophies in a single night. He was also honored with the Sangeet Natak Akademi Award in 1990 and the National Heritage Fellowship in 1999 in the US. The world mourns the loss of a maestro whose music was magic, a genius who belonged as much to India as to the world stage. Rest in peace, Ustad Zakir Hussain. Your rhythm lives on forever.
So let's talk about Sakhi and Is That So? How did that come about? Johnson was saying that it's about 7 years ago, there was a kind of thought process that he started with. And
I think the idea basically emerged from John G's mind, his heart, and I'm sure that there was always this need to be able to find an interpretation of the traditions that we all represented. And in some ways, John G represented on both sides, because he studied North Indian music, South Indian music, and of course, the maestro is the legend representing his own genre of music. And I would not say that's a limit. That would be limiting his ability. I mean, John G could be a blues guitarist or a flamenco guitarist or a jazz guitarist or rock guitarist or anything that he wanted to be, and equally at home in all of those, no issues at all. But he added an Indian guitarist, an Indian raga player, an Indian tumri and dadra or a kriti player. I mean, that kind of, what was great to play with John G is that he is an artist who respected our traditions enough to be able to take the time to learn it, cross over to us, as opposed to hoping that we'll meet halfway. He came our way and then gradually took us step by step into his world and showed us the wonders that exist in his world and brought education to us. And that's why I call him my mentor, because he is most certainly my mentor. I've learned so much about the music from his side of the world, and without really asking, he brought it to us. And so to have that kind of a mindset, still looking for a way to be able to take all these traditions and interpret it in a way where they are meshed together like one of the finest, work of intricate stitch work on a beautiful pashmina shawl.
All right, moving on to our person of interest this morning. We are joined by the incredible Manasi Parekh, who has made waves with a brilliant performance in critically acclaimed Gujarati film Kutch Express. But that's not where her journey starts or ends. She's nothing short of magical, as they say, bagging the national award as well for the best actress. You must remember her where she had a really teary moment on stage, sharing the stage with cinematic legends as well, like Ratna Patak Shah.
Right, for these actors, it's often, the culmination of decades and decades of striving, and there's more to this very inspiring woman than meets the eye. Her love for fitness, her morning rituals, how she balances motherhood and stardom. We're going to dive into all of that, hopefully, today here on the show. Let's welcome national award-winning actor, the style icon too, someone who's loved, Manasi Parekh. Manasi, thank you for joining us here on the show. Good morning and congratulations on your national award. Can you just walk us through the moment itself? We were just reminiscing about it. It had stayed with us too.
It's one thing to have your name announced, and it's another thing to actually enter Vigyan Sabha and to be there with all the illuminaries who've, won multiple times, and to actually be in the same space as some of the greatest people, some of the greatest makers in the country. So it was incredibly overwhelming and so, like once in a lifetime kind of a feeling for me. And the fact that we produced Kutch Express as well, me and my husband. And we are just artists, we don't have any backing in the industry. We don't have any godfathers. There's no mentors. It's just us who want to do something new and do something without any idea how we're going to do it. And to finally have like this recognition for our film and for me as an actor was incredible. So when they announced my name on stage, I was standing, I remember, and I was just I was like, oh my God, is this really happening? Am I actually going on stage? And this is, the moment is here. I was obviously very, very emotional because every artist worth their salt would wish for a national award. But to actually win it is another thing. And I'm so happy I could.
How sweet is that to have come from your own production house, and I believe it was just shot in 24 days. How did you manage that?
There were days when I was shooting almost 24, 25 hours without sleeping. Because, a Gujarati film cannot be made beyond a certain budget. And to reach that budget, it has to be shot within very limited days.
Wow.
So each and every minute is accounted for on set. You cannot afford to waste a single minute because the budgets are really limited. Unlike a Hindi film, which would have like the extravagance of, shooting for 50 days, 60 days. That doesn't happen in regional cinema, especially Gujarati. And within that crazy time schedule, you have to have your, performance intact and look good and feel fresh. But then I have my television background to thank for because television puts you through such grueling hours that it's almost like you're on a battlefield and you got to perform no matter what. And all those years of my television helped me, as Monghi, my character in Kutch Express.
Sweet.
Manasi, a lot of people who love you also look up to the way you dress and in particular how you choose outfits, put together fabrics, textiles. Tell our audiences a little bit about your outfit at the National Awards ceremony. How did you decide exactly what you wanted to wear? How did you approach that?
So I'll tell you something. So our film won 3 awards. One is Best Actress for me. Second is for the film, Best Film Promoting a Social Cause. And the third was for Best Costume, which was won by Nikki Joshi, who's also my stylist since a long time. She's done costumes for the film as well. So both of us were winning awards at the National Awards, and she was winning it for costume. And she was also styling me for the event. So we decided that because we were representing Gujarat, my outfit should definitely portray the weaves of Gujarat. So we had a pink bandhani patola sari, and we had an ajrak jacket on top of that. So those are the 3 classic weaves of Gujarat, which are very popular across the world. And I was very clear. I said, because I did a lot of research on what the other actresses have worn over the years. And I saw that there were lots of muted colors and nudes and dull golds and, beiges and all that. I said, let's just go pop pink, because it's Gujarat, it's celebration, it's festive. We were in the middle of Navratri while the National Awards were happening. So, Purvi Doshi is this very talented designer from Gujarat. In fact, from Kutch, so she was the one who designed the sari and the jacket. So it was a group effort and it paid off so well, because people really appreciated the outfit, the sari and the jacket.
Love it when there's a story behind every outfit as well. But there are stories regarding your yoga practice. Can you tell us more about that?
I think for me, it's like, come hail, come sunshine, my mat. I have to be on my mat. And there are days, when you don't feel great, and there are days when you're going through some lows. Through that, it's the mat. Like you just show up on the mat. It's like showing up for yourself and your mind and your mental peace and your health. So I show up on my mat and I make sure that I'm practicing, and depending on how physically fit I feel, like there are days when I don't feel that great, and then I might just do meditation and breath work. There are days when I'm like, no, I need my 1.5 hours of Hatha yoga. Then I do that. But yoga is such an integral part of my life, and I can just say this, that I think after having practiced it consistently for all these years, I feel the difference in myself. It shows up in ways which are very unexpected. For example, suddenly, like, it helps me deal with production issues, because when you're shooting a film and you're also acting and you're also producer, it requires a lot of multitasking and lots of problem solving. And these are problems that can never be preempted. They are problems that are always last minute, always never expected, and always something that will put everybody, like feeling like, oh my God, what happened? Through that, my yoga practice helps me keep balanced, and I don't freak out, or I don't lose my temper, or I don't go mad. I don't start screaming or throwing things, It really helps in maintaining my sanity through any kind of stressful situation. So yoga helped me in every which way. And I would say everybody should practice yoga.
What lovely words to hear early in the morning, huh? Let's just take you back for a second, Manasi. We're going to seem like we're stuck on style, but we just want to ask you a little bit more because you have come to be known for that. What's a go-to look that defines you?
I mean, I love my hair like the way it is. I don't like styling it too much. So, like, for me, I love my curls. You know, a lot of curly head people don't like their curls and they say, I wish I had straight hair, but I love my curls. So, for me, classic look is just little makeup like under eye, concealer, little lip gloss, mascara, open hair with little curl product, a white shirt and denim. And that's like my go-to, you know, because that looks chic, it looks classy, and like, it looks really nice. But of course, like, there are events, like I'm going for an event tonight, then I dress up and I'm going to play like, I'm going to wear like an off-shoulder black gown, and then there's going to be drama, like dramatic pulled back hair and smoky eyes. So depending on the occasion, my style evolves. And I think my style keeps getting better as I'm getting older, as I know myself better. Some people are great with style, like they know their style from the word go. For me, it's been an evolution. It's been like a way of discovering, you know, what really works for me. And I think for me, less is more works.
Manasi, I'm not over your yoga answer, and especially seeing you and your daughter on the mat is really inspiring me as well. So let's go back to wellness for a minute and share with us your morning routine. How do you pep yourself up for a busy, hectic day of work?
My morning routine is the most sacred part of my day, because I believe that if your morning starts well, then your day goes by amazingly. And if your day goes well, then your week goes well. If your week goes well, then your month goes well, and then your year goes well. So it's all linked. Like, I take my mornings very seriously. I wake up in the morning. I don't go to my phone immediately. I start my day with honey and warm water. I immediately go to the gym or do my yoga, depending on what day it is. So I do my morning exercise first on an empty stomach. After that, I come back home and I do this juice with amla, beet, carrot, and pomegranate, because it's an absolutely anti-inflammatory, gut health inducing juice. I do that. I do soaked almonds and soaked walnuts. And that is my morning breakfast, you know. I do not have any other hot meal. I just do this. I start my day with this, because then this just cleanses your system, flushes out the toxins, and that glow that juice can give you is, I mean, I think if you juice, you will know what I'm talking about in the morning.
Yeah.
Then there's lots of music. There's like morning shlokas. I do like chants. I do all of that, because even that's very important. You know, I do a lot of breath work. So there's Kapalbhati and Bhastrika. These are things that you do, because I think everything is about the breath.
Yeah.
We need to get a juicer in the
In
studio
office.
is what
Yeah.
this is teaching us.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit here, Manasi, about what it's like once you've won the national award? I mean, we're not, you know, possibly going to win a national award for film in our lifetimes, but what happens after that, after you reach a milestone like that? Is it added pressure? How do you look at what's next?
I am on a path where I want to evolve with each project. I've never competed with anybody. I've always followed my own gut. I have never believed in this whole number game. Nor have I believed in people and, you know, Mansi, अरे ये तो थोड़ी work करेगा. अरे तुम हिंदी से गुजराती में कैसे आ गई? All these things happened, but you know, like, I've always held my own and believe that I am different and I have my own journey. And the national award has cemented that belief in myself. And I just, it's like a step to greater opportunity, greater responsibility, and greater challenges as an artist, because I believe that it's so important to challenge oneself constantly. Like the next film that I'm doing is absolutely, like, nobody's seen me in a role like this ever. Before this, I did a film, you know, which was a horror comedy. Before that, I did Kutch Express, which was a completely simple domesticated wife from a small town. So every project, I'm doing something different, some different role, which hasn't been done before me. And I think the national award is, you know, it just cements all the work that I've done over the last 20 years and makes me feel like, yes, I am raring to go. This is just the beginning and there's so much more to do. Can't wait.
Yeah. And Manasi, the National Award really puts Kutch Express on the map for everybody else to also sort of watch out for. So if you had to create a tagline for your journey with Kutch Express, what would that be?
Dreams can be possible. Yes. It was a dream. It was just a dream for us to be able to do this. And, we don't even have any investors for our problem. We just had friends putting in money to make this film. Literally, it's a crowd-funded project. So if that film made with integrity and honesty can go this far, then anything you dream of can be achieved.
Beautiful.
What a beautiful note to start our day with here. Manasi, thank you for spreading your inspiration, your energy with us here on the show.
And you've really inspired us for all that yoga and juicing and all of it. We better get to it now.
Yeah.
We've had our mornings here, but hoping to make yours in return. On that note, take a break. We'll be back in a moment.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Will you
Want to
shoot
know
them
the
down?
truth? They're very close to Bedminster.